Good morning, conference chair, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, welcome to my beautiful country, Singapore. All right, it's good to see a lot of familiar faces here this morning. All right, okay, Singapore is known as the Lion City, but we also known as the little red dot, and that is possibly because you can't really see us on the world map, right? So my name is Candice. And as Lai has introduced, I'm actually a consultant. I specialize in customer and patient-centric approach to doing things rather than disease or product-centric. So I consult with a lot of healthcare companies, pharmaceutical, health promotion board, for example, to look into how to transform the industry from a very disease product-based approach to looking at people, to look at them more as a people-centric approach, a customer-centric approach, or even a patient-centric approach. So essentially that's what I do, okay? So today I'm going to bring to you more so the perspective from a consultant and from a consumer or patient perspective. Hopefully that will set the tone for the rest of the day. Okay, now KPMG Global Healthcare recently held a summit in Rome. All right, it was attended by senior executives and clinicians from some of the world's top healthcare companies across 22 countries. So the report shows that the world is worried about the same health challenges. And as you can see from the screen, mainly they are aging population, shortage of medical doctors and allied healthcare professionals. The healthcare costs are escalating. Healthcare systems are still very disparate. All right? Patients' expectation is always increasing because of globalization. People are more informed and more aware. And because there are a lot of lifestyle changes, okay, this has also created new issues. Any of you do not face these problems at all in your country? Okay, so what happened is, okay, let me have to juggle this in between. All right, so to counter some of these challenges, it was reported that more policymakers are now starting to introduce, okay, universal medical insurance coverage because the purpose is to make healthcare more affordable and accessible to everybody. Payers themselves, they have begun reshaping patient behavior and shifting care more purposefully upstream to focus more on preventive health. Healthcare providers, they are focusing on making the health systems more integrated and inclusive than ever before. Now, physicians are no longer asked to play, the role of like a god. Whatever they say is gospel truth. Okay, in fact, they are encouraged right now to go towards a more guiding kind of role. All right. And patients' community also want to be more empowered, okay? Because they want to be empowered in the knowledge and skills for managing their own health being. But we all know that new strategies call for new mindset and skill set. And at the Global Summit, okay, there was also consensus that the whole healthcare industry need to be reshaped and re-strategized with best practices, not just in the medical treatment diagnosis area, but in other functional areas as well, which I'll touch on briefly later on. So we keep them with the best practices, with leadership skills and soft skills, because these are needed to drive innovation and to really make integration happen. So the other point is enable patient-centric processes, okay? And this one we can do by integrating data, touch points, and processes. Last but not least, which is very important, is that we need to empower people to become active partners and take greater responsibilities towards their own health being. So let's take a look at innovation. Okay, medical skills and technical skills aside, the process of innovative healthcare practices could be triggered by equipping the practitioners with leadership skills, okay, because this is important to help to drive innovation and integration. And the other skills that I will highlight briefly will be the soft skills, because the soft skills will enhance the cooperation of multidisciplinary teams as well as the relationship with patients and partners towards a common vision. So to bring about change in the healthcare industry is not always about medical skills and technical skills, but more importantly, on how you drive innovation, how you get people on board, and bring about the integration in your implementation. All right, so let's look at leadership skills. All right, to drive innovation and integration, practitioners must be exposed to cross-industry best practices. So it's no longer enough to know what is happening in the healthcare industry, but it'd be good to know what is happening in related industries. All right, so that you can learn from the best practices. You can see in a lot of Fortune 500 companies, multinational companies, they no longer recruit CEOs from the same industry, but they are also receptive to looking at people who has a special skill set. The knowledge on how to motivate and reward your fellow workers towards individual as well as team achievements is also very important. Negotiation skills with payers and partners towards building more efficacious healthcare interventions. And other skills required would be change management skills. How do you bring about change in the organization? And also, how do you develop the organization as all these changes occur? Now, where soft skills is concerned, practitioners should be equipped with some of this to facilitate again the process, all right, the change process. Now, a lot of time in my consulting with pharmaceutical companies who work with doctors, supply to doctors, all right, we find that what's very lacking is the patient's communication skills and educating the patients. Now, this is very important because if you're talking about empowering the patients, how do you empower them? So practitioners could be a very important channel in this. Now, practitioners should also look into improving their counseling skills, especially on patient self-management. So if we want to empower them to self-manage, so the counseling skills have to come in. Knowing how to leverage new concepts, such as the voice of customer. In your industry, you call the voice of patients. What is it that your patients want? All right, what is their needs, their wants, and how can you deliver it, to the best that meets their needs as well. Now, there's this term which we use quite often in the private sector. We call it customer experience management. So similarly, in the healthcare industry, this is one area you might want to look into, how to manage the experience of your patients. The other two will be managing the tripartite relationship between patients, caregiver, and the community, because they are an integrated process by itself. And of course, not forgetting the relationship between payer, partner, and private sectors. So you can see that the role of the practitioners have gone beyond just the patient, the direct relationship, but in managing all this as well. Okay, next, to optimize efficiency. I'm going to share with you how all this thing can be put together. I can only share with you the experience of Singapore, all right, because that is something I know what's happening, and I think for all of you who come from different countries, it would be nice to have a view of what we are doing over here. So to optimize efficiency, cost, and patient's compliance, it is imperative that integration must occur in databases, systems, and processes. So on integration, on the side of integration, Singapore has been adopting healthcare technologies and rethinking the role of technology in human contact in the delivery of healthcare and social care. And this I quote actually from the Singapore Health Minister, Mr. Gan Kim Yong, in his speech at the Healthcare in Asia 2014 conference that just took place. The result was a national electronic health record, which took 5 years to complete. So we started in 2008 and we finished in 2012. It was called the One Singaporean, One Health Record. It has enabled patient health records to be shared across the nation's healthcare ecosystems since 2012. The accomplishment is now providing an even more important platforms for Singapore to build its next master plan. So our next master plan is known as the Health city Novena. It is targeted to finish by 2030. The vision is to build a holistic and people-empowering healthcare model that integrates the public, the partners, the private sectors, and the population. I will just now show you a small little clip to introduce what they have done. More of it, you can see it from the internet. Okay, the whole video clip is more than 5 minutes, so you could see it on YouTube, okay? So now this brings me to the final point on influencing behavior. So remember the innovation, integration, and now the influencing of behaviors. So particularly that of the patients and the population, by empowering them with knowledge and skills of healthful living. Research has shown that behavior change is a multifactorial and multi-stage process. And it has also shown that it is more susceptible to relational thinking than rational thinking. It is suggested that there is a big divide between knowledge and practice because people face several barriers to change. Some of them include financial, physical, emotional, psychological. In my papers last year, I focused on this area, on how to help people overcome some of these barriers of change. And it was found that one of the most effective means is not through mass media or paternal kind of drilling in of information top down, but very much from people to people, from person to person. More of that, I think you can buy the report from GSTF, right? Okay. However, socially mediated pathways that use community-led interventions and community partnering have also shown to enhance the success of health interventions. This suggests that barriers to healthful living can be influenced. All right, and I would like to show you 2 case examples. How many of you have heard of Vitality? Any of you from South Africa here today? Okay, so you might want to go and Google about the Vitality program. Okay, this Vitality Wellness Program is administered by Discovery Health. It is the largest private healthcare funder in South Africa. The program essentially encourages people to get healthier by rewarding them with premium discounts, shopping, travel rewards, among other things. And the program is said to have now more than 5 million members, not just in South Africa. It has spread over to UK, US, China, as well as Singapore. Okay, so you can see that people can be influenced, we can be incentivized to lead a healthier lifestyle. Now, in the research that I presented last year, family and friends in particular have shown to be effective agents and resources to bring about lifestyle changes. Particularly, my research focused on just physical activity and nutrition, all right? But however, do you know that it can also be very effective in encouraging and influencing someone to quit smoking? All right, I'm not sure whether you have done that in your country, but I'll share with you in a moment the experience of Singapore in leveraging social community to help people to kick the butt, right? Tongue in cheek. Okay, so here's a video called I Quit. Okay, this is just to give you a bit of background on this campaign. Okay, it's launched by the Singapore Health Promotion Board. It will show you how the social community can play the role of an agent and a resource for you to help family members or friends who are smokers to overcome their barriers to quit the habit. Okay, I'll show you now the clip, the full clip.
I suffered a massive heart attack. There was this 2 my daughter challenged me to give up. She came up to me and said, "Pa, are you a man or not? If you're a man, give up smoking." And that's it.
It's not so easy. To think of it, I think it's impossible.
I want to be a role model for my kids.
I want to live my life as I can.
Okay, last year this time I was asked, to give example how do we leverage on social community and a lot of things. So I hope that this encapsulates some of the things, and you can see from there that they are leveraging on certain concepts like touch points, social communication, social influence and all this. And then of course there's social media as well, right? So to recap, I would just really like to encourage all of you who are practitioners and specialists in the medical field, to innovate by equipping yourselves with best practices and knowledge across industries, not just your industry, and also to integrate. So if you're in the planning management side, look into some of this integration. I know it's easier said than done. Normally it's very technical. It's handled by the IT side. But you as the person who can do the master plan and planning as well. But what you can immediately do, I believe, is in leveraging people, to bring about changes in the society as well. So it is great that we have the annual Global Healthcare Conference to provide us with this platform to share the knowledge, the discoveries and experiences for the furtherance of the practice. I believe our next speaker, Associate Professor Mei Lin, will have more to share with you regarding her topic on social media, communication and public health. And with that, I thank you very much for your attention.